All right. So I am very excited. If you guys want, you could pin my profile. So if you click on my face and click the word pin, you will see that I will pop up and be ginormous there. And then we will be going through slides. So here, I'm going to mute everybody. And then also, I'm going to make sure that we mute you guys upon entry. But you can, if you do have questions, you can interrupt me. Don't ever feel bad. This is really for you. So, with this being for you, I want to make sure that you guys get the most out of it. So, officially, yes, I am Natalie Diaz. I'm the founder of Twiniversity, blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm going to do an intro in a minute, but just other housekeeping. Could you see me okay and hear me okay? Just one more check since I turned my mic off. Beautiful. Okay. So we're going to begin at the beginning and I'm going to tell you everything that we're going to cover today. So officially, if you have not met me before and if you ever meet me in person, this is it. This is literally all you get. And then people are like, I feel like I know you. It's because you do, because I wear my heart on my sleeve and that's just me and I'm cool with it. Emily, I don't know where you are, but I'm jealous about the sunglasses and the sun hat. So I can't even talk about it. All right. All right, so who am I? Hopefully, you guys have those two books that are behind me and on the screen. I'm the author of What to Do When You're Having to and the Newborn Twin Sleep Guide. Note that the Newborn Twin Sleep Guide is supposed to be read during pregnancy. Okay, and then you put it on your shelf, and then when you're at 3 months and you're losing your marbles, you go back and you just read the 3 month chapter. All of the books that I write, and there may be another one. Ooh, I can't wait for that to come out. So all the books that I write are meant to be read on the toilet so that you don't actually read them cover to cover. You get the pieces that you need almost like an encyclopedia and then you move along. If you want to read it cover to cover, yes, of course, you'll have a more complete story, but it is certainly not required. But know that the Newborn Twin Sleep Guide it actually starts during pregnancy. And the moral of the story is if we play our cards right out of the gate with twinnies, you'll never have to sleep coach or sleep train. And ideally, that's my goal is to never have to deal with, the cry it out and all that jazz. So I am also the big cheese here at Twiniversity. I started Twiniversity literally the day that my twins entered kindergarten. So they walked in. Previous to that, I was the director of the Manhattan Twins Club. I've been on the board of the New York State Mothers of Twins Clubs and the National Twins Club, which, yes, those exist. If you have not joined a local twin group where you can meet people in person, I do strongly recommend it. And if you aren't sure, you could actually go to our website and we have most twin clubs in the country already outlined with a live link directly to their site. So you could just put in California and then you see that we have one in Northern California, Southern California. If you go New York, upstate, downstate, wherever you are. So I'm the big cheese over here. And I really started it because in all sincerity, I did not have a great experience with my 20s. And so, despite that, my therapist tells me that I can't undo the past, I refuse to believe that. And so, what I can do is make sure that you guys have a better experience. So, in this time, I have also become a CPST, which is a child passenger safety technician. Full disclosure, I have totally let my certification lapse because hashtag twin life. That's what I'm going to say about that. But that doesn't mean that I forgot anything that's in my noggin. I am also an IBCLC. This is probably not saying that I'm not proud of anything else that I've accomplished, but guys, that was serious hardcore business. It took me 2 years to get that certification, and I had to have up to 1,500 hours of clinical experience working with boobs and potatoes, and which I did. And I am a proud IBCLC, which stands for International Board Certified Lactation Consultant. And know that if you are planning on having some lactation support, you really do need an IBCLC. So an IBCLC is not, we are not trained by the United States. We are globally trained. So it doesn't matter if you're in Tibet or Tribeca, we are ready. And so we not only have the clinical skills, but we also have the historical knowledge. And gentle reminder, yeah, we've been feeding our twinnies at breast for a little over 3 million years. So nothing to worry about there. We have a few years of data behind us. I'm also the host of the Twiniversity podcast. If you guys haven't listened to that podcast, you guys should because it's really, really, really great. And then if you miss me and you're lonely, you could just tell Alexa to play the Twiniversity podcast and you will just hear my voice pop up with whatever guest there is. And of course, I am a birth educator, which I have been for the whole 16 years. I am Lamaze trained. I am not Lamaze certified. Lamaze just didn't do It didn't do it for me when it comes to twins. They barely covered any twin education. And so I just decided to stop giving them my money. And so therefore I am educated for it, but I'm not going to give them any more funds. And I even had an argument with them because we spent more time covering Down syndrome than we did twins. And the likelihood of you having twins is significantly greater than having a child, God forbid, with a disability. Not saying that one is more important than the other, but they really just didn't prepare me for that. So I've taken the bull by the horns and gotten my own education. But most importantly, I'm a twin mom. And so I had my twinnies back in 2004. They just turned 21, which means that I have lost my designated drivers. And now we have to say who's driving us home. But they are unbelievable kids. Seriously, if they weren't my kids, I'd be jealous of whose ever kids they are. They're so much fun. And we just had a family vacation. And the fact that my kids choose to spend time with us and they're like, no, we want to go away with you. I don't know if it's because they have fun with me or because I pay the bills. I'm still iffy on that one, but I don't give a shit. Whatever it is what it is. So that is me in a nutshell. And if you have any other questions about any other certifications, you let me know. But the moral of the story is I am very capable of teaching this class. And I want to assure you that over the past 16 years, I have coached thousands of twin families all over the world, and I'm ready to help you guys too. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to cover just a few things. Fingers crossed we get to all of them. We should be able to get to all of them, but I do have some questions for you guys too. So get ready to use that keyboard or your little keyboard on your phone any second. But we're going to cover 4 things to do before delivery day. How will you know that you're in labor? We're going to talk about birthday preferences, which is basically a birth plan. You guys probably know the term birth plan. I don't like to use the term plan because we're just going to have birthday preferences, which is going to be a big deal. So we'll cover that. We'll talk about advocating for yourself and your family. We're going to talk about recovery and then your first introduction to your 20s. Okay. So this is just a little glimpse into the world of things that you need to know. I'll tell you how to get more information, but know that every other Monday about we have a free class at Twiniversity. I'm going to give you the class schedule for that as well. And then also note that any birth coaching, lactation coaching, or anything is covered by insurance. And I am in network with United Healthcare, Aetna, and Cigna. So if you have any of those insurances, know that virtually or in person, depending on where you are, because I do actually travel often to South Florida. So not only do I see families in New York, I see families down there too. So if for some reason you need extra support and you can't find it locally, know that I am here. If you book an appointment with me on a Tuesday or a Friday, a virtual visit, know that you're getting a BOGO. So it's me and Lauren Oak, who is my IBCLC mentee. So you get 2 IBCLCs for the price of one, and which is really the price of 0 because it's covered by your insurance. But know that if you ever wanted to have like 2 pairs of eyes and 2 pairs of ears, Tuesdays and Fridays are the day to do that. Okay. All right, kiddos. So this is what I need to know from you. And so that way I could cover a lot of the things that you're worried about. I want to know right now, pop open your chat. And in the chat, I want to know what you are most anxious about. So when you're lying there in bed at 2 o'clock in the morning because you feel like a beached whale, right? What is the thing that pops in your mind that causes you the most stress? Right? So is it delivery? Is it the NICU? Is it prematurity? Is it feeding? Like, what are those things that are stressing you out? And so if you have no stressors, then could you tell us how that happened? Because I think the rest of us want whatever you're taking because it's just stressful. It really is. And so it's always the fear of the unknown. That has a lot to do with it. So let's cover some of the things. Of course, we got prematurity, we have sleep. So Holly, sleep for you or sleep for the potatoes? We got preterm delivery. We have recovery from a C-section while caring for twin newborns. NICU is always up there. Early delivery is up there. Oh, I have a lot of locals too. I got a lot of New Jersey and stuff. That's pretty cool. Preterm delivery. If I want the delivery to go the way I want. Yes, Sarah, we're going to talk about that 100%. Anxious about sleep and fatigue. I have a 15-month-old and so tired already. Kate, I feel you. Kate, I'm jumping on a JetBlue plane. I'm coming right to Seattle. Okay, Mama Bear, I feel for you. Complications during delivery, prematurity. Nice and breastfeeding. Okay. I don't know if nice is the word. NICU, I'm going to say, is probably what that was. But yeah, so guys, look, I want you to scroll through those as well. And what I want you to notice, you're not alone. Like we're all in this together. I joke all the time that the Twiniversity tagline should be misery loves company because that's really kind of what it feels like. But know that we are going to cover the NICU. We're going to talk a little bit about breastfeeding. We actually have a whole breastfeeding class. And for the first time ever, drum roll please, we're going to do a pumping class. And so we're going to talk about pumping. So I'll give you the dates of those so you could write them on your calendar. I'm super stoked about that. How fast things could go on birthday, that they do. But yeah, gang, it's going to be a lot. So let's jump in so that I could cover as much as possible. Okay. I like that Zoom is yelling at me that we have too many people here. Zoom, calm your nerves. Okay, I could have 500 people. I know what I paid for. All right, kiddos. So these are the first things. These are the four things that I need you to do before delivery day. Now, has any of you grabbed the delivery day, the twins delivery day workbook? And by the way, it is not mandatory. And if you are experiencing a financial hardship of any kind, you could email us. We have scholarships. We'll send this to you for free. We are not gatekeepers at Twiniversity, and nobody works at Twiniversity to buy their kids giraffes or Maseratis. We are all doing this to right the wrong of our own experiences. And so we have had success through for 16 years, like I've said. So know that if for any reason you want to take a Twiniversity class and I am not in network with your insurance, know that I don't care. Like I want to help you and please let me help you. So if you go through here, you're going to see kind of a whole list of things that you'll have to do before your delivery day. So we'll go with that. But the first thing that I need you to do is by week 30, I would like for you guys to have your hospital bags packed. All right. Now, a lot of times people are like, Anna, I see that face that you just gave me. That's it. Is your hospital bag packed, boo? If it's not, it's only too late if you don't start now. So don't get stressed about it. Like, we'll be okay. But when you're packing your hospital bag, if you go into the workbook, it's going to give you an entire list of things that I want you to have in your hospital bag. And now remember, you don't need anything. Anything you need is going to be provided by the hospital. It's going to be the stuff that you want. And it's going to be the creature comforts that I want you to have in those bags. Right. But anything that you actually need, like if you went to the hospital with nothing, you'll be fine. They'll even give you clothes to take the 20s home in. So don't get panicky. But it's just nice to have some of those creature comforts, which are going to alleviate a lot of the anxiety that you may feel on delivery day. And some of the things that I would really like for you to have is I really would like if you had a hospital gown. Now, yes, you could wear the ones that are given to you in the hospital, but those often either close in the back or they close in the front. I'm sure many of you have seen one on TV if you've never worn one yourself. And so we want you to be comfortable. And so garments are one of the big things. So you could buy a bunch of maternity nightgowns that are also for nursing. But when you're buying the maternity nightgowns, try to find the ones that have ties along the arms or that have buttons along the arms, just in case post delivery they opt to keep you on a blood pressure monitor or a heart monitor. Like let's say you have, or an IV. If you have an EKG or an IV, you're going to have to basically have that IV disconnected if you want to take a shower or if you want to change. So let's say you had a nice Wendy's chili after delivery and you spilled it all down the front of your nursing gown. We want to make sure you could take that off without having to call the nurse and say, hey, come take the lines out. Okay. So yeah, so make sure that you get one that has little tops that could either be unsnapped or tied. And so Ashley saying the Freedom Mom delivery gown is the best. Definitely look at no name brands as well. I would really buy them on Amazon. You're not going to be wearing them for a very, very long time. Even if you're breastfeeding, you're going to end up getting kind of separates of tops and bottoms. But just think about the softness of it. And if you have any sensory issues, like if you're like, oh my God, I hate, my sheets when they're 400 thread cat, I can only sleep on Egyptian cotton, then make sure that you get like either something made with bamboo or something that's fully cotton. Okay. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing that I really would like for you to have in your hospital bag is if you wear glasses or if you wear contacts, make sure that you have all that stuff and bring an extra pair of glasses. And why I say an extra pair of glasses is because if you're going to pack your hospital bag now, like around 30 weeks, you're going to need your regular glasses and we need to see. So I usually they don't allow you to wear your contacts in the delivery room, which is going to be an operating room. I'm not saying that you're going to have a C-section, but every twin delivery I shouldn't say every, I'm going to say 90% of twin deliveries are going to be in an operating room simply because the volume of staff is so large that a typical labor and delivery room doesn't accommodate everybody. So it's not that they think you're going to have a C-section, but like even if you look like you're going to have a full vaginal delivery, you're still going to be delivering in the OR. Okay. So they're not going to want you to have your contacts in for that. The other things that I really like I have hand cream and I have cream, but one thing that, like a few things that I don't have on here that I'm going to bring up to this is I would buy a sleep mask that has a Bluetooth headset in it. And so you could get them on Amazon. They're about 21 smackaroonies. You only need one of them. Make sure that it's charged. But after delivery, if you and your partner or you and your mom or sister are going to take turns watching the potatoes, then make sure that you have something that you could sleep because they don't turn those freaking lights off in the hospital. Okay. So a Bluetooth sleep mask, but only one so that whoever is going to be on duty is on duty and whoever is going to sleep is going to sleep. Okay. Oh, Sammy, I'm sorry that your eyesight's so bad. Join the club, like 27 astigmatisms in these eyes. But Zeal, Zeeool, check them for glasses. I'm just saying on the sneak. That's where I buy my daughter all her glasses. Okay. All right. So, but I literally do. My daughter's vision is very interesting. I'll just leave it at that. It's very complicated. She has weird shaped eyes, but I think she's perfect the way that she is. She's also a ginger, by the way. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. All right. So the other thing that I want you to have is a notebook, not a notebook. I want you to get Post-its. And why I want you to have Post-its is because let's say you want to put a message on your door, like, please don't knock on this door unless it's essential. Like, put a Post-it on the door. That's it. Like, that's fine. Twinnies are sleeping. Like, also, I think in this, don't we have a little sign that says my twinnies are sleeping? I think we do. Yes, we do. So here. I actually made this. This is a sign for your door. And so you could print this out. It's in the delivery day workbook. And then the funny thing is because did you guys used to like do these things when you were little and you would cut them out and you would glue them on paper? So I made all these stickers that you could stick on the front of it. So you just have to cut it out and put a piece of tape, but you got that in there. So I would bring some Post-its just for the hospital so that you make sure that they don't come in. But also if you're like, the lactation consultant isn't coming to see me, tell your partner to go stick it on their door. Because I'm telling you right now, if a lactation consultant shows up and it's like, hey, Mary, I'm Nat, I'm in room 517. I just had twins. I could really use your help. I don't really give a shit how many people are on that list. She's coming to you first. Okay, I just want you to know that. And I apologize that I didn't ask if I could curse, but hey, cat's out of the bag already. So I apologize for all the kids in the room for the extra potatoes that are there. I will watch my vocabulary from now on. All right, so not only do I need you to pack your hospital bag, but when you get your hospital bag, please don't bring a wheelie luggage. Many people bring wheelie luggages with them to a hospital. This is not appropriate. We need a crossbody bag so that who's ever helping you get discharged from the hospital could do a crossbody bag of their stuff, a crossbody bag of your stuff, a potato in a car seat in this hand, a potato in the car seat in this hand, and then they went full pack mule. But I don't want you holding anything. And also, do you know how skeevy it is to wheel a wheelie luggage through the freaking hospital? So, no wheelie luggages. You could go online. I literally have my favorite bag of all time. I'll have Amanda put a link in. But there's a bag that's a yoga bag. It's 15 bucks. I have four of them. So I use one as my boob bag for travel visits, but now I literally just bought another one to use for travel because I love it so much. And I bought two as gifts. Whenever I go to a baby shower, that's the first thing that I get somebody is a good bag because you could also use it as a diaper bag. So think about what you're going to get. Think about how it could fit over that stroller, but let's double dip and try to find some ways. So that brings me to saying your partner needs their own bag. You cannot share a bag with your partner. And it's simply because if you go to recovery, let's say for 2 or 3 days, you're going to want your stuff and your partner's going to want their stuff. So you do want to have two separate bags. Okay. And then also in our delivery day workbook thingy, I have a whole separate partner packing list. So it tells you, like, it'll give your partner kind of an outline of what they need to get to. So grab that as well. Now, in addition, one thing, and this is going to be a little sponsored thing, and know that whenever you see anything that's sponsored at Twiniversity, no one in 16 years has bought my kind word. All right. So anytime you see a company that we're like pimping out, It's because A, we want to be able to continuously provide free education, but B, we genuinely believe in them and know that this has been historically since the dawn of time for Twiniversity. If I have not sold out now, I am never selling out. And so I've made it this far. So one of the companies that we've been working with this whole time is Cord Blood Registry, which is CBR. If you have not had a conversation with your obstetrician about banking your twins' cord blood, you really should. I am a family that would have used my cord blood had I banked it. And that is why I am so passionate about making sure that families know this is even a thing. So basically, what it is that within your umbilical cord are these magical stem cells that could be turned into anything. They could only be harvested two ways, one through bone marrow, the other one through your umbilical cord. And so when you have babies, you have these magical cells that can be transferred and stored, cryopreserved. God forbid something happens, and it doesn't even have to happen now. It's going to happen. It could, you may use them in 50 years from now. God forbid that somebody ends up having breast cancer when they're, 55. These are timeless cells that are specifically made for that potato. Not only could your potatoes use them for each other, but you could also benefit them. So might your sister, so might your mother. Now, like I said, I am a family that would have used them. I had two separate situations where I would have used them. Once when my twinnies were little, and now, unfortunately, my husband has a cardiac problem. And one of the things that the cardiologist asked us was, did we bank our twin stem cells? Which I was like, that's a thing, but and I didn't. So thanks. Now I feel bad two times. So know that we have a code, it's Duo2 when going with CBR. And the reason why specifically we want you to call CBR is they have the most to lose. There are many other companies who do this, but we have been through Hurricane Sandy here in New York, and we've seen like cryopreservation companies go down to Chinatown because they lost electric. CBR is based out of Arizona, and also instead of us, like, how like when you see influencers that like use code 7515 and I get $2. What we have done with CBR is when you use the code Duo2, you get the commission that we would have gotten as a discount for that second kid. And so that's also the way that we work. If you go to our multiple birth discount page, most of the time, like I would say 95% of the time, we opt out of receiving affiliate commissions and we just have it granted right back to you guys. So if you use code Duo2, you have that. So know that it is not essential, but it is certainly something that I would want to know about the next time I delivered my potatoes. Okay. So you have that information, Duo2, and it is not just a Twiniversity code. It is a global code that can be used by anybody. So if you have other family members that are having twins, and it basically almost gives you a 2 for 1 because we do know that it's expensive. But the thing is, it's kind of like cost versus worth. I do think that it's worth it. Okay. That's just my humble opinion. That's what I give you. Now, the next thing that you have to do is you do have to tour your hospital. If you have not toured your hospital yet, I would really like for you to do that, ideally also by week 30. And now some hospitals pause up if you see that your hospital does not offer a hospital tour. Okay, so tell me if they didn't. Yeah, so Sam, you guys don't. But there's a lot of hospitals nowadays, and Kendra and Luz, like you guys also are in that same thing. So note that there's a lot of hospitals that are like, take this virtual tour. I give you the finger on that one. Okay. So what I need you to do is go rogue. Next time you go to the hospital for any types of appointments, I need you to know where you're going to enter if it's 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Post COVID, we know that a lot of hospitals made a lot of changes. And yes, that seems like an eternity ago. They still have kept they have still kept a lot of those rules, and I don't know why. So, what I need you to know is where you're going into the hospital at particular times a day. I need you to know where labor and delivery is. I need you to know where the postpartum floor is. I need you to know if you will always go to the postpartum floor after delivery, or if it's possible that you're going to go to a women's floor if they're too full on the postpartum floor. So some hospitals have like a floor where it's like women having like ovarian cysts removed or a hysterectomy, God forbid. But there are other floors in the hospital that deal with women's issues. I need to know if you're going to be in a postpartum floor or if you're going to be in a women's floor, just so you know. I need you to know where the labor and delivery room is, of course, but where the delivery room is going to be. So if you did end up having a C-section or you did end up delivering in an operating room, where is that in relation to your labor and delivery room? Where are you going after the potatoes are born? right? Are the potatoes going to be born? Are they going to be on the same floor with you? Is the nursery on a different floor? Is the NICU on a different floor? I just want you to know these things because in your mind's eye, it gets so confusing and so muddled on delivery day that I just want you to be able to say, okay, I'm on 3, the 20s are on 6, all is well with the world. I think it's just important that you have kind of the lay of the land in a perfect world. Okay. So if you can, I do want you to do kind of a little hospital tour. And then when you're on that hospital tour, you could ask about things like, do they have doulas on staff? Do they have midwives on staff? What type of lactation support do they have? Is it 24 hours? Is it 12 hours? Is it available on the weekends? So once again, in your little packet, I have all the questions that I want you to ask your hospital, but that is kind of the starting of the stuff that's in there. Okay. So I want you to take your hospital tour if you can. If you can't, you could call either the labor and delivery person, you could call a birth educator, or you could call an IBCLC of the hospital. If none of those people could give you the answers, call the PR department. They'll have it. Call the PR or marketing department, which is like an unused way of finding out things. But you really need this information, especially where the NICU is in relation to the recovery room, so that if the babies did go to the NICU, where the heck are they? I want you to know. Okay. The next thing that I want you to do is call your insurance company. Okay. My number one question that I want you to call your insurance company about is how many pumps are you getting? Do you know that some insurance companies offer a breast pump per pregnancy and some insurance companies offer a pump per live birth? And so if you're getting a pump per live birth, we're getting 2 pumps and I want you to get that. Also, please, I'm telling you now, if I never see you again, all right, I hope that's not true, but if I never see you again, please do not get a wearable as the one that is covered by your insurance company. You have to get a real pump, which would either be the Spectra, a Medela, or a Lancino. Okay, you could do Motif or Amita if like critical, but ideally you get like a real heavy duty pump that is not a wearable. A wearable is the equivalent of a Vespa. I need you to drive around in a Bentley for the first 30 days. No Vespas for the first 30 days. Okay, so get yourself a real pump, please, I beg you. Now, when you call your insurance company, you could also, so the brands were Spectra, Spectra, Medela, Medela, Lansinoh, Lansinoh. Those are really the top 3. I mean, you could do a meet and motif, but seriously, meh. For Medela, do we need the symphony? You don't need the symphony, but I would definitely do at least the pump and style, Haley. Like I would look at that, but please, 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 just don't freaking get the wearables. So many of my moms are getting the wearables and they just suck. They're just like, they're crappy pumps. And at least, and you'll see, for 20s, we do not have time to F around. We got to go with the big guys right out of the gate. Okay. So you call your insurance company and also note that some insurance companies are going to tell you that you are limited with lactation. That is bullshit ski. That's how you say it in another language. So I didn't curse in English. I said it in the language. But they're going to tell you that they limited your visits. You might have to ask them for more visits, but it is required according to the United States federal law that lactation covered is mandated to be covered. And it doesn't matter if you breastfeed for 2 days or for 15 years, that is nobody's business but yours. So, especially if you have like Aetna, they'll tell you, oh, and Cigna, they'll tell you, oh, you're limited to 6 visits. You're limited to 6 visits for a certain code. But if you work with a real lactation consultant, she could just bill with a different code of time. So it doesn't really matter. We just get like double billing codes for the first 6 visits, and then we'll just make less money after that. But most people like me, nobody really does this for the buckage. But we do need to have a little bit of compensation because, college doesn't pay itself, guys. And I tried the 2-for-1 deal for college. They did not bite. But I did get $500 off both of their tuitions by writing a very serious letter, thanks to ChatGPT, asking them for some money because I did have 2 college tuitions at once. So they could have only said no, but both of them said yes. Ha ha ha. All right. So when you call your insurance company, you also have a list in here of things that I want you to ask, but that's just to get you started. All right. And I would strongly consider taking a Twiniversity class. Clearly, you know that I'm going to say that. But like I said, I do this for you guys. So you will find that with all of our Twiniversity classes, it's not for me. We already did this. And all the team at Twiniversity, we all have twins. So know that we're all in this with you. So even if you ask a question on Instagram or a question through YouTube, know that it's a twin mom that's responding to you too, which I think is pretty important. But take our Twiniversity classes, and I think that we have a Sal. Let me see, that should be the next one. Yeah. So every time that we do twins delivery day class, know that from today, from now through midnight, you're going to get 50% off the classes. So hypothetically, if it is not covered by your insurance, know that our Twiniversity classes are going to be 50% off. And then note that every other Twiniversity class will offer you a student rate, which is usually about half of what it typically is. So if you have any interest in taking a Twiniversity class, you'll get an email tonight, after this class, and you'll have the code in there, or you could grab that screenshot right now and you'll have that. The code is, I don't actually know what the code is. That's horrible of me to say that, Rebecca, but I know that that's what that QR code is. And I have no idea what it is. I have to be honest with you. Amanda does that. God bless Amanda, but I have no idea what it is. So grab that. And if you want, you could screenshot that QR code right now, but grab that. Okay. Now, how will you know that you are in labor? Okay. It is important that you know that you should always overreact. And I know that that sounds nuts, but my theory is, and you'll see it in the books and you'll hear it in 1,000 things that I say, I'd rather you overreact 100% of the time than underreact once. All right. Do not call me if you are in labor. I literally, a few years ago, had a mom that called me and she's like, hi. And by the way, the Zoom ID is my cell phone number. I am very, very, very accessible. I am definitely, hands down, the most accessible parenting professional in the world. You could call my cell anytime you want. I do not hide from you guys. We do not have like a Twiniversity like 800 number. When you call that 917 number, I answer. And I'm like, hey, it's Nat. And then some people are like, could I be connected to the classes department? And I say, sure, hold on. Boop, boop, boop. Hi, classes department. It's always me, guys. It's always me. So don't call me if you're in labor. This mom called and she's like, literally, there's a foot coming out. Scariest phone call I ever got. I'm like, hey, let's call 911 on three-way. All right, let's just do that. Let's get the ambulance there. That'll be nice. And everything's good. She's fine. The twinnies are now 3, so that was 3 years ago. So we're good, but don't call me first. Odds are, call the doctor or the hospital. Just an idea. Okay? So you call them if you're having any type of contractions. Now, it's important to understand what a contraction is and how we know if you're having one. Has anybody had Braxton Hicks contractions yet? No? Okay. So what the difference is between, here we go, there we go, all the Braxton Hicks people. So the difference between Braxton Hicks contractions and real contractions is that real contractions have you make progress, where Braxton Hicks contractions are just your body practicing contractions. All right. So what a contraction feels like is that your uterus is one giant muscle. This is actually a boob, but for the sake of demonstration, I will be using this as a uterus today. So your uterus is one giant muscle. And people think that they feel contractions in this way, like, "Ah, oh God, it's a contraction, it's a contraction." It may not be. It may be a little bit up here. It may be a little bit on the side. It could be a little bit over here. You could feel a contraction anyway, and literally it's your muscle contracting. So if at any time you feel like a little bit of an earthquake in your nether regions, right? It could even be down, like if you have some pressure in your little vagina over there, that's always a good spot. Or if you have it at the top by your ribs, or you have it on the sides by like your hips, always call your doctor if you see that these pains are consistent. So if they have any repetition to them, you definitely want to call the doctor. So just note, you could do it on a timer. You could even actually, if you have the Twiniversity app, we have a contractions timer and a breastfeeding timer. So you could have that on there too, and know that we really do have an app. And currently it is the only app that is available exclusively made for twins, because Huckleberry and all those other apps make you leave the screen to enter information for the second child, which is just aggravating. So if you want to do tracking of your potatoes, know that we do have that. But if you feel any contractions, so pressure up here to the side or the bottom, I want you to know it's just Twiniversity, Haley. So you just put Twiniversity in the App Store, whether it's Google Play or the regular, and you'll see that it's there. So any contractions, you want to call the doctor. And please don't be one of those people that are like, oh my God, I'm having contractions. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to go, take the dog for a walk. No, no, you're not. You're going to go to the freaking hospital. That's what you're going to do. Okay, not that I don't want you to labor for a long time, but a lot of times people think, oh, I'm a first time mom. It's going to take me, 12 hours to get these potatoes out. I will tell you, first time mom, I labored for 5 hours and my twinnies were both born. So it is not like a general rule of what's going to happen. We do not know. And I need to make sure that you are safe first and foremost. And then, of course, that your potatoes are safe. Okay. Now, contractions, call the doctor. Next one is back pain. A lot of people don't know this, but when your potatoes are being born, right? If you look at your tailbone actually curves in. And a lot of times when your potatoes are coming out, they do a little bit of a corkscrew action and they're like, whoa, it's so much fun. I'm coming out, right? But if your potatoes are being born and they get stuck, right? So you'll hear the term they're being sunny side up, which means that their little face is going to be this way. But your potatoes could get stuck right here. And sometimes we feel an immense amount of pain in our back. If you have lower back pain, or if you feel like right at the base of your butt where like the crack of your butt is, if you feel a lot of pain there, that actually could be labor. And so you really do need to call the doctor. Okay. If your water breaks or if you lose your mucus plug. Now, if your water breaks and it's a big gush, definitely call the doctor, which reminds me, if you do not have a waterproof mattress pad on your bed, you need to put that on now because the last thing you want to do is come home from the hospital and start scrubbing amniotic fluid off of your mattress. No, thank you. Right? So buy a waterproof mattress cover. Walmart sells one for $7. It's a little shitty. I may spend like the $20 range, but you're going to need it not only during pregnancy and delivery, but it's also great to have after the babies get here. So if you're breastfeeding in bed and then somebody throws up all over the place, I don't have to worry about scrubbing that out of the bed too. So waterproof mattress cover, please. But if your water breaks, you know it's that big gush. But if you lose your mucus plug, it's not as much of a big gush. And what a mucus plug looks like, it looks like a wad of phlegm. Like, let's say you took like 5 sheets of single ply toilet paper and you wet it and then you threw it on the wall. That's what your mucus plug looks like. Okay, so it looks like this ball of mucus. And if we lose that, that means that there is a way for your amniotic fluid to come out, which means that there's a way for germs to get in. And that's the important part about your water breaking. It's not that your water is breaking, and yes, that means that they're going to have lower amniotic fluid to swim around in, but it also means that if there's an exit, there's an entrance, and we want to make sure that we minimize infection if and when possible. Okay? So if your water breaks, your mucus plug, call the doctor. If you have any type of discharge, and I mean it, if it is slimy, if it is red, if it is white, if it is green, if it is black, I do not care. If anything is coming out, you need to tell the doctor. Now, bonus points if you take a photo of what actually came out. Yes, that sounds disgusting to a lot of people, but I assure you that your doctor is going to want a better understanding of what actually happened. This not only goes for pregnancy, this also goes for post-delivery and for babies. Like, I get pictures of duty diapers on the daily because that's my tea leaves. I read duty the same way that other people read tea leaves in the bottom of a cup, right? Because as a feeding professional, I know that what goes in comes out, and what comes out tells me a story. Same thing for your doctor when it comes to pregnancy. If you have discharge, take a photo of it before you change your underwear, before you change your pad or anything, so that the nurses and the doctors in the hospital get a better idea of what they're looking at. Okay. I know that sounds crazy. I'm not telling you this as Natalie. This is a worldwide, we should all be doing this to make sure that we have the appropriate treatments from our medical professionals. Okay. Now, I'm speaking so fast because I have so much to cover. I apologize. Hopefully you guys keeping up. You're okay. I'm in full New Yorker mode right now. I'm a mile a minute. So that's how it's going. Okay. As long as you're good. So the other thing I want to talk about is preeclampsia. So if you have any vision changes, any headaches that aren't going away with medication, any sudden swelling to your face, your hands, or your feet, I need you to call the doctor immediately. Okay? And if you have to monitor your blood pressure, insurance will cover that blood pressure monitor. And when you get discharged, even if the doctor doesn't tell you to monitor your blood pressure, I think we should all be monitoring our blood pressure, especially post 20s, because those signs of the vision change, the headache, the swelling, that could also happen post delivery. So not only do we have to worry about preeclampsia, which basically means that your heart is having a hard time keeping up with this pregnancy, but we also have to worry about postpartum preeclampsia, which means that your heart is having a hard time recovering after the delivery. These are both treatable. The preeclampsia is only treated by, unfortunately, by delivery. So if you do get severe preeclampsia, they're going to want to deliver your babies to make sure that you are at the healthiest. But if you have postpartum preeclampsia, that's often treated by medication, and sometimes you even need to have an extra hospital stay. So just know this. And also, if your partners are joining me today, like if they're joining you or if they're watching this later, you guys have to really be on point about this because she may not even realize it. All right, so this is always like a partner situation. Please make sure that your partners are okay. So Kate said, I have a prescription for a blood pressure monitor, but I'm not sure where to get it. Good at CVS. Just go to CVS, just go to Walgreens, CVS, Walmart. If you have a prescription, any pharmacy like that will cover it. And if you're not sure, when you call your insurance company to find out about the pumps, you ask for a thing. But all of us should have a blood pressure monitor in our house. Okay. And like spring for the better one. If insurance is like, we'll cover one up to $14, but there's a $24 one, spend the extra 10 bucks and get the better one. Okay. That may be a little bit easier for you to use. The other times that I want you to call your doctor is if you have any itching or rash. That could also be something called PUPS syndrome, PUPPS. So I want you to make sure that that rash is like just a rash, nothing special, not that your liver is having a hard time functioning. If you have stopped peeing, yes, please make sure you call your doctor. You should be drinking plenty of water, that you're peeing regularly. Your pee should be fairly clear, if not just like a little tint of yellow. Sam, you get bonus points for drinking right now. Everybody should be taking a sip as a reminder, but please make sure that you are drinking enough during the day. It really is important, especially during pregnancy. It's still important post-delivery. I'll tell you, it's very important post-delivery, like immediately post-delivery, but a lot less important when it comes to breastfeeding. We know that Mother Nature is going to steal what you want, but really stay on point with that water, please. I beg you. If you feel no movement by one or both twinnies, I need you to make sure that you call your doctor. Okay? Once again, it is better to overreact 100% of the time than to underreact once. Okay? Please, please, please. And if those are the words, that's the only thing that you remember from today, that's your takeaway. Okay? And finally, if you feel that something is off, you're peeing fine, you feel the baby's moving fine, you have no itching, but something just feels wrong, call the doctor. Do you know that before we had Dr. Google and before I existed and before everything, you have instincts that are going to steer you in the right direction? And once again, even if you wasted your time by going to labor and delivery, I'd rather you start to trust your instincts, even if you find out that they're wrong this time. It could just be like a warning shot, let's say. So please make sure that if your body is like lay down, you lay down. If your body's like turn to the side, turn to the side. But it really is very important. Like Sarah said too, it's important that we really make sure that you are listening to what your body is trying to tell you. Okay? Is a monitor really needed if the blood pressure has always been low and controls? Shannon, technically, no, it's not. But there may be times where maybe you have a headache a few days later and the doctor will say, hey, why don't you check your blood pressure? And you'll be like, hey, doc, I don't have a monitor. So for the 25 bucks that it is, for the amount of money that you're going to spend for 20s, I would rather you have less expensive swaddles and a blood pressure monitor, if that makes sense. Okay? All right. Yeah, I always want somebody to have them. And that's another thing, like when you go to the pediatrician, if you're worried about your blood pressure, you can ask your pediatrician to take your blood pressure. Okay, so just know that's always there on that side too. All right, kiddos. So here are the dates that I wanted to give you. So January 26th is our Twin Ready Registry, which means that we're going to go over all the stuff that you need to have in your house, not the stuff that you want, right? I'm not going to talk about the want stuff. We all want way too many things. But on the 26th, we'll talk about like car seats. We'll talk about strollers. We'll talk about cribs, crib mattresses, bouncy seats, bottles. We'll do all that stuff. And then on February 9th is our boob camp. And so that will be exclusively about the first experiences of breastfeeding and a little bit of the biology behind it, because I do think that it's important that we know the why of why things work the way that they do, and that will make you actually have a better experience. And then February 23rd is our first Pumping for Two class. So that's our new class for 2026, and I'm pretty excited about it. So make sure if you haven't registered for that, you could go right now and you could register for all of those. Now, birthday preferences. Okay, so once again, in your little thing here, let's see where I'd find it. My birthday preferences. Boop, boop, boop. I literally have it set so that you fill in the blank. So if you want to have a birth plan and your doctor's like, oh, that's silly, you don't need a birth plan. Listen, I'm not saying that you need a birth plan. I just like for you to know the options that you have. Where the heck is my freaking birth plan? I know that it's in here. Twin birthday preferences. All right, well, I can't open to that page for you, but it's in there somewhere. So what it is I want you to know the options that you have. So the important things are who is going to be there that day. That is my most important thing when it comes to a birth plan, and you should tell people around you, especially you should have this conversation with your partner. Now, the people that should be there are people that you feel comfortable being naked around, point blank. If your father-in-law didn't make that list, understandable, but maybe they wait until day 2 or 3 because during delivery, your nether bits are probably going to be exposed quite a bit. And then post delivery, your boobs are pretty much going to be out full time. And so, who do you not want to see your boobs? Those are the people that shouldn't be coming to the hospital. Okay. So, just note that. So, who will be there on delivery day? The next thing is comfort measures. Okay. If you know that you have a higher than typical pain tolerance, you need to tell your doctor now. And so if you're like, I want all the meds all the time, 100%, give me everything that nobody on the floor is taking, I will take it. Let the doctor know you are very pro meds. If you're like, listen, I want an epidural at the last minute. I want to wait until the last possible minute. I want to feel this labor as much as I possibly can. More power to you. I want what you want. Let the doctor know for both delivery and for post delivery as well. Right now, when it comes to epidurals, most people do get an epidural, but there are still plenty of people who don't. However, if you don't want an epidural and then change your mind, you're kind of up shit's creek a little bit. So we have to have kind of a plan C, right? So plan A is no epidural, plan B is have an epidural, but there is a plan C, which means that they could run the epidural and put a block on it so that no medication is run. Now, the great thing about that is, let's say hypothetically you were laboring deliciously, everything was going wonderfully, but then it looks like you're going to need a C-section. You're going to want to have that epidural run because then we're not going to have to worry about them, God forbid, putting you under general anesthesia for the birth of your babies. They'll be able to run that epidural, get the medication into you, and then you'll be awake for your C-section delivery if it ended up turning like that. Or maybe A comes out old school and B comes out new school, right? You have a vaginal delivery with baby A and a C-section with baby B, which it does happen. And if you go to the Twiniversity podcast, I believe that we have 2 episodes exclusively on that. And both moms said, it is what it is. Like where we think it's like the worst thing in the universe, just know that it's not the worst thing in the universe. Sometimes that's just a story that your 20s want to tell, and you have one challenging baby. What are you going to do about it? Because think about it. Once baby A comes out, baby B is like, oh, look at this room I had. I didn't know that we had extra bedrooms in this apartment. This is so nice. And then baby B is like, no, thank you. I live here now. See you later, alligators, right? But maybe you don't want to wait, the 5 hours or 6 hours. And yes, it could be that long between baby A and baby B. Or maybe you delivered at 11 and you just want them both to have the same birth date because then you're like, it's going to be super duper weird. Entirely up to you. There's a lot of reasons why we might have a C-section with baby B. Okay, but just know that if we have that epidural run, that's one more thing that we don't have to stress about, that at least we don't have the medication, but it is a possibility, which a lot of people don't even know that it's a possibility. Now, another thing that's in our control is our birth playlist. So simple. And I know you're like, that's stupid. Why, out of all the things I have to worry about that. There's not a lot that's in our control when it comes to pregnancy. Let's just be honest. All right, let's just call it like we see it. We can make all the plans in the world, but the babies hold all the cards. We got nothing here. We're just kind of along for the ride. We're just an incubator for these 2 little jerks that are inside of you right now. But what you can do is you could start focusing on positive stuff. And all that positivity that you feel goes directly to our potatoes. So that means think about a birth playlist, whether you play it actually during delivery or you play it after delivery. What's the song that you met your partner to? What was the song that you danced with your first boy in eighth grade to? Like, think about songs that mean a lot to you, that when you hear them, they just bring you joy. That's what I want you to have on your birth playlist. Now, even if it's a C-section, you could speak to your hospital many, many, many times. They could literally just plug in your iPhone. They could have you Bluetooth connect and play all of those songs while you're having a C-section, which would be really sweet. That your babies are born to a little Zeppelin. I think it's wonderful. That's that. But think about it. Music for me and my family brings us a lot of joy. We usually have music on 24 hours a day. I would love the babies to have been born to the Hamilton soundtrack. That would have been kind of cool, right? I can nerd out with all my music. So think about that because that is in your control. And I want you to take a little bit of power back. Okay. If you have not thought about having a birth doula, a lot of people will be like, it's a waste of time. You're never going to have it. Speak to your hospital. Is the birth doula going to be allowed to be with you the whole time? Because a birth professional and a visitor are two different people, right? I could come to the hospital as an IBCLC in addition to your guests because I am a clinical professional. So know that if you want to have some extra support, a birth doula is on kind of the menu, but make sure that you hire somebody with multiple birth experience. That is very, very important. And if you guys need recommendations, we'll happily tell us what state you're in, and we'll tell you the ones that we know the best. Okay. All right. Now, this is importante. Okay. This is a word that I want you to use for the rest of your life. Whenever you're thinking about advocating or making a decision or finding out more information, I want you to always use your brain. And what I mean by this is during delivery, there might be things that you are not sure of, and you don't know if this is the right decision that you're making, or after delivery, or bottle feeding, whatever it is. Even for you, you go to the doctor says one thing, and you're like, I don't know. I want you to use your brain. And what that stands for is what are the benefits of this? What are the risks of this? What are the alternatives to this? What is my intuition saying? And what if we do nothing? And I bring this up because it has to do with C-sections. Okay, so if you're delivering and you want a nice vaginal delivery and everything is looking good, and then the doctor's like, listen, it's not good. We're going to have to, deliver you via C-section. Okay, doc, what are the benefits of having a C-section right now versus waiting for 5 minutes? Okay, what are the risks of having the C-section? What are the alternatives? Could we do a vacuum or forceps assist? What are the alternatives? Are there alternatives? Are there not? What is your intuition telling you? Is your intuition screaming that you're like, no, wait 5 minutes. Everything is going good. What does your intuition say? And then ask the doctor, what if we do nothing? What's going to happen? But it's important, just use your brain, whether it's with a pediatrician, the obstetrician, your cardiologist, your anybody. I do not care. But always try to use your brain to make sure that A, they have informed consent, that you actually knew what you were consenting to. But then in addition, I really want to make sure that you feel comfortable with the decision that you're making. And so this is something, if you watch nothing else, hopefully you fast forwarded to this and you watched it with your partner, that somebody has to be an advocate. I also recommend that if you and your partner do not have a safe word, and I do not mean it in the 50 Shades of Grey kind of way, I mean it that there should be a word that you could convey to your partner that makes your partner know something's up, right? So not only do I have this with my partner, I have it with my twins. So we live in the heart of New York City. I actually live in Lower Manhattan in Little Italy. We've been here since 1872. We are the OGs of Little Italy. So I did not move to Manhattan to pursue a career in acting. We just landed here from Naples and we've just been too lazy to move since then. So that's why I live in Manhattan. And I still go to Jersey to buy my milk because it's $2 cheaper and I'd rather pay the tunnel. But know that if I say pajamas, my kids know to circle the wagons, that there's a danger nearby because I don't want to say, hey kids, there's a crazy person. So I say pajamas. And if I'm out with my kids still at the age of 21, and they actually use this back to me, if I'm to the point where I'm going to murder my own children, I'll say, fix your glasses. Because I don't want to say, watch your mouth, before I watch it for you because I am that mother. I am full 1942 in my parenting style, and so far it's working good. But now the twinnies tell me, Ma, fix your glasses because even though I don't have them on now, I wear glasses all the time. And when I bought these, my family tells me that I look like Roz from Monsters Inc. Thank you so much, family. I love them. Gotta love your kids. But I do actually look like Roz from Monsters Inc., so I can't fight with them on that one. But what it is have that word. So in a labor and delivery situation, if you're like, babe, Palomino, your partner is going to know that you don't feel safe, that you feel uncomfortable, and they will take the bull by the horns and they'll make sure that you feel okay and that you feel safe. Because at the end of the day, your birth experience is it's going to imprint on your brain. And I want to make sure that you have as much positivity as possible on this specific day. Okay. All right. So you're going to use your brain. All right, speed round. The next thing I want to talk about is recovery. And I know I'm going to go a few minutes over, so I apologize. Hopefully, you guys will stay with me. But during recovery, it is important that you do these things. Okay. Number one, it is really okay to ask for help, whether this is in literal the recovery room or in the postpartum floor. There's another podcast that is actually with a labor and delivery nurse. I recommend that you listen to that one because she will tell you, press the friggin' button. Why are you not pressing the button? And we're like, no, we got it. We're okay. We could do it. No, you can't. It's okay to not know what you're doing. No one knows what they're doing. We're all winging it. I'm still winging it every single day, right? I may know more than the average bear, but I'm still learning on the fly. And the minute that I think I know everything is the minute that I stop this business because this is constantly evolving. Motherhood is constantly evolving in the world, not only in the United States. So it is okay to ask for help. And I really encourage you to ask for help. I do need you to stay appropriately medicated, hence the two little pills next to the it's okay to ask for help. Because if you have what's called breakthrough pain, meaning that they didn't give you your medications at the proper time, you're not going to do things that I would like for you to do to recover. And one of those things is walking. Okay, I do want you to get up and walk around with or without an epidural. As soon as you get the green light to walk around, I want you to walk around. I want your body to get back in motion. If they tell you to wear a belly band, wear the belly band. If they tell you to put on these socks so you don't slip, put on those socks so you don't slip, please. But you do have to be appropriately medicated. And if you're somebody that's like, I don't want to take any medication, I hate medication, I hear you. I don't even like to take Advil unless I need to. But you do need to take it so that you could be a better version of you to get the things done that you need to get done. Okay. I also need you to drink your water. Now, this sounds crazy, but a lot of people don't know. You have to pee within 6 hours post delivery. And the reason why they want you to do that is because if the weight of your bladder is sitting on your uterus and irritating it, we could run into some more discomfort and maybe even a problem or two. So we need you to pee to make sure that everything is working appropriately. So after delivery, as soon as they tell you you could have some ice chips or some ginger ale or some cranberry juice or some water, please make sure that you do. Because if you were in labor forever in a day and you weren't allowed to have any fluids, you might be a little bit on the dry side if they weren't giving you fluids. So just know, please make sure that you are drinking something so that you pee. And if you do pee, pee in one of those hats that they put in the toilet for you so that you pee into like the little cuppy thing so that the nurses know that you do. And you do have to tell the nurses when you're ready to get up to go to the bathroom so they could assist you. A lot of people, this is like, I don't know why we don't talk about this at dinner with our friends. This is what I talk about at dinner with my friends, but I have weird friends, right? So it's what I do. But know that we do need to pee after delivery and it is pretty important. So my partners need to make sure that water jug is full. If you want to bring a water bottle with you that you're comfortable drinking out of, please make sure and bring that. Okay. The other thing is you do have to eat. You have to think about a post-delivery meal. Some hospitals, like here, NYU, has like the most friggin' exquisite food. If anybody is delivering at NYU, order the salmon, 100%. That sounds so weird. It's weirdly delicious, like really good. And who says this about hospital food? But if your hospital has garbage food, which most people do, like if you're delivering at Sinai or Lennox or someplace else, you're going to want to order some Chipotle. A steak and black bean burrito with some brown rice. Spring for the guac. You earned it, guys. You earned it. Make sure that you're thinking about a post-birth meal. You don't have to just eat the stuff that they're giving you. Is anybody here from Australia joining me today? I would love to know. You guys don't even want to know what they do. If you want to know, I have a podcast with an Australian mom. Do you know that if you deliver in the middle of the night and you're like, I'd like a ribeye with a baked potato, they'll make you a ribeye with a baked potato. They have a kitchen that's open 24 hours to customize your meals. Where did we go wrong, guys? I think it's time we move to Australia. Don't worry about the crocodiles and snakes. I'll figure that out for us, okay? All right, so make sure you think about a post-birth meal and then also prepare to bottle feed. As an IBCLC, I know you're like, Nat, you're psychotic. Why are you telling me this? If your babies are born and they have low glucose or high bilirubin, they may not be ready to be at the boob. And that's okay. Just because your babies might not latch right out of the womb, or if it takes your baby a day or two, like don't get too stressed about that. I want you to know that even if we bottle feed in the hospital, I promise you we will get those babies to boob. I am not stressed about it. I have a client right now that her babies were born prematurely. She lives in Brooklyn. Her babies were born prematurely, and it took us about 6 weeks to get her into the zone. But she just sent me a picture that she's in Aruba and she was tandem feeding in Aruba. I was crying. I was so happy. But it's like you got to trust the process, which is why it's important that you work with somebody. Okay. So know that if you got a bottle feed, it is not the end of the universe. And what basically bilirubin is that when your babies are born, 60% of babies are born with a higher than typical bilirubin, which means that their livers like haven't come online yet and their livers are having like a little bit of stress, but that's not a problem. It's pretty typical because you have to remember your placenta was doing everything for those potatoes. Their skin didn't have to skin, their eyes didn't have to eyes, and certainly their organs didn't have to organ. And post delivery, if they have a little bit of an issue with their pancreas, their liver, whatever, it's okay. We'll figure it out. Don't get stressed about it. That doesn't mean that we are not going to breastfeed our babies. And if you have to formula feed, totally fine. Don't bring your own. Use what the hospital has. Okay? Unless you want to use a very specific formula, which I always advise against anyway, because it's hard to find. If you're going to use Bobby, that's fine. But if you're going to use like HIP or you're going to use something that's available in your home country, maybe just start with what the hospital gives us because odds are you're not even going to be using a lot of formula anyway if you're planning on exclusively breastfeeding. And yes, you 100% could exclusively breastfeed twins. Okay. There's very rare that we can't, but there's no reason to not be hopeful until we find out specifically because I have to work with your boobs and your potatoes and we'll go from there. But if you have to breastfeed, I mean, if you have to bottle feed, have some Dr. Brown's bottles. And specifically, I want you to get the tall Dr. Brown's bottles. So these are the better bottles. And by the way, you will find, once again, yes, they are a partner of Twiniversity, but specifically for a reason, they're superior. They're great. They're really, really great. And it's where the nipple hits your baby's tongue is what makes it great. Like if you look at, like this is a Tommy Tippy bottle, you could see they're just built differently. And so the Dr. Brown's tall, no matter whether it's me or any other lactation professional, those are the ones that it's going to be the narrow M. So the narrow one, it does matter because if you look at the wide, right, here's one of the wide ones and here's one of the narrow ones. The wide one, it looks better, but it's actually shorter. So if you measured from here to there, this is longer and this is what we want. Okay. Listen, I love me some bottles. I have bottles. You can't even imagine what I have on this desk right now. What do you want to talk about? Want to talk about tiny potatoes? Or maybe you just want to paint your nails, which I was going to do before class and I didn't. Okay, I'll do that for our next class. I'll try to get a manicure. I probably won't. Okay, now your first introduction to your 20s, okay? And then I will set you free into the universe. But you gotta go slow, okay? You gotta go slow and don't rush it. So if you are not feeling well, do not hold the babies. If you are feeling sad, talk about it. Ask for a nurse, ask for a social worker. There is no rush. You're going to have them for the next 45 years because they're both going to be professional YouTubers and live in your basement. All right. So we got time. There's no rush. Go slow. Ask for help. Like I said, please, I really, really mean it. You got to ask for help, even if it's calling me. Even if it's calling me from the hospital saying, Nat, can we jump on a virtual visit? Yes. Do I have any today? No, I don't have any virtual visits today with people in the hospital, but I do tomorrow. And I will see you every day when you're in the hospital because I want to make sure that you get the experience that you want. I'll be damned if you don't. Okay? You got to take care of yourself, which means you got to eat, you got to go to the bathroom, you got to walk, and you have to have a moment. That means if you want to take a shower, as soon as the doctor says it's okay to take a shower, you take a shower. I want you to accept the fact that you're probably going to be nervous. And if you're not, good for you. That's great. Maybe worked in a daycare facility and you've been with 1,000 babies all day. But if you are nervous, that's very normal and it's typical. And we're all scared. I'm scared for you, but you will be okay. Okay? All right. Now, if you do go to the NICU, okay, there's two things that I want to tell you that's very, very important when you go to the NICU. Number one is I want you to use the staff pediatricians, right? If you call your pediatrician from home, they're going to either come before office hours or after office hours, and they might not be there during the time that you're there visiting your twinnies. So use the people on staff. You're going to be transferred to your regular pediatrician anyway. But the people that are in the NICU, the pediatricians in the NICU are neonatologists, and they have a different set of eyes and ears than a typical pediatrician because there's certain things that preemies do that singletons don't necessarily do. Like one thing, for example, is a pediatrician of like full terms might say, "Oh my goodness, your baby has a heart murmur," where a neonatologist will say, "Yeah, that's just a valve that's not finished closing. That's totally normal at this gestation." So you want to specifically use those people. The other thing is you could ask for a primary nurse. You don't have to have a different nurse every day. If you fall in love with one particular nurse, you could say, "Hey, listen, is it possible that we have Liz every single day that we're here?" Odds are Liz will be there every day that Liz is working, right? But having that like consistency and continuity will give you a lot of comfort and alleviate a lot of stress. And I also love when you have a primary nurse, when you call the nurse's desk, let's say at 2 o'clock in the morning because you're just super stressed out, you literally say, "Can I have Sally? Can I talk to Kendra?" Like whoever it is, then you'll be like, "Hey, Kendra, it's Nat. How are the twinnies doing? How did their last feed go? Any Brady's, any DSATs?" Like there's always something that you could ask about. And I love when you actually know the person on the other side of the phone. Okay. And you can visit them usually 22 hours a day, usually 2 hours a day. They're rounding. So the doctors are going to see all the kids. And sometimes hospitals kind of limit the amount of time that parents are in there, which is also a really good break for you to go get some lunch. Okay. And yes, you can order food into the NICU. They're usually going to make you eat in the lobby. But once again, you don't have to get stuck with hospital food. I used to bring my kids were in the NICU for 31 days. I would bring lunch. That's it. I would just bring my lunch, whether it was a tuna fish sandwich, peanut butter, egg salad, whatever it was. I didn't care. I wanted to sit by my babies and I would secretly sneak a bite or two in between, just holding their little paws through their isolates. Okay. The next thing is I need you to freaking pay attention to discharge orders. You guys kill me. So many times you'll call me and you'll be like, "I don't know how to feed." I'll be like, "Hey, did anybody read the papers that they sent you home with? Anybody there?" And nobody's reading those freaking papers. So those papers are going to tell you not only how to feed your babies, how often they should be eating, how much they should be eating, but also how often you should be taking medication and what medications you should be taking. Okay. And then when you get home, get a piece of paper and literally write down 7 p.m. Tylenol, 11 p.m. Advil, and write it down and then check it off as you go to make sure we don't have that breakthrough pain. Okay. So you got to make sure that you pay attention to those discharge orders because nobody remembers. And please, like, we're going to talk about breastfeeding at the next class or the class after that, but do not try to tandem feed in the hospital like this chick unless you have had twins before. Has anybody here, is this their second set of twins? Which, by the way, twins twice is a real thing. Yes, I'm not trying to scare you, but do know. Welcome to our world. We have quite a few Twiniversity members who have double twins, but we also have some that have three sets. That's what I say about that. I say, you know what? That's a whole different type of car right there. That's a whole different situation. God bless him. God bless him. All right. So if you're like, "What more, Nat, do you have for me?" Kids, I have everything for you. There's nothing that you could want that I pretty much don't have. So we have a twin pregnancy week by week timeline. So literally, like Kendra, go to Twiniversity, put in 19 weeks, see what's going to happen next week. Anna, go to 34 weeks, go on YouTube, you could watch a whole video about it. Sam, look at 18 weeks. Like, see what's coming up ahead so you could get prepared. In our week by week timeline, not only does it kind of tell you, like, here's what you could expect this week, but here are some things you should get done. Right? So, like, here's ideally, like, if you don't have these things checked off, try to get them checked off this week. We have our YouTube channel, which has 20 something thousand people, which still shocks me every day that like I know that we're 3% of the population. So like numbers for me are like totally different than like normal people. I'm excited when we have anything. We have two Facebook groups for you guys. We have, well, actually, do we have three? We have three. So we have the twins first year. We have a Twiniversity Connect, which is Twiniversity members and people that took a class. And then we have a twin pregnancy Facebook group. And it's the only reason why I still use Facebook. Well, that and crocheting. I belong to 1,000 crocheting Facebook groups as well. But we have those. We have double stroller reviews. So if you're curious to know if the stroller you're getting might be appropriate, but we're going to talk about that at the next class. And we do have a monthly membership where we meet on Zoom once a month. It's usually the second Monday of the month at 1:30 or 2 o'clock. I can't remember Eastern time, but it's come as you are. And you bring any questions, sleep, feeding, whatever, and we will walk you through that process. That is the easiest way to not only meet other fellow twin parents, but to get your questions answered in the most, like literally it's real time. So we don't have to worry about, oh my God, what did she say? And wait for you to email us back. So know that our monthly membership is there for you too. And if you haven't taken a first aid CPR class, please, I beg you, at least take the one that we offered. So we created it during the pandemic and we're still going strong with that. But every twin family should know infant first aid or CPR. Okay? All right. And then finally, don't blink or you're going to miss it. Okay. That was me in the NICU. And yes, there's my little Ginger. She's going to drive me to drink because you see she's going to stab her brother with a fork at that lower portion. But those are my twinnies and they are the freaking best. But we went from delivery back in 2004 on December 16th to today. And I think it was about 25 minutes is how long it felt. So 20, I think I'm going to give it a minute a year. It's insane. But it will go by so fast. And as the saying goes, the days are long, but the years are short. And if at any time you are unsatisfied by your parenting experience, I wish you would allow us to help you. Know that we really will be here every step of the way. And this is the link again. If you did not grab it the first time, hopefully you will grab it this time. So grab that. And then we have something else for you too. Boom, boom, boom. Every time we do a delivery day boot camp, we always guilt our partners into giving you prizes too. So this prize is 7,800 smackaroonies. You could go register right now, and you could also tell your partner to register and everybody else that you know. And so you'll get a whole Twiniversity package, including both of our books. You'll get free banking by Cord Blood Registry. You'll get a package from Baby Brezza, which is the washer, dryer, sterilizer, the Pro, and then the Formula Pro Advance, or is that a bottle warmer? I don't actually know what we're getting. And then a whole kit from Dr. Brown's too. Okay, so we have that. No, go and register. I would love if you did because I want you to have stuff that you don't have to pay for because once again, college ain't cheap. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to stop our recording, but I'm not going to stop this class because now it's time for you to ask me some questions. So here we go. I'm going to stop the recording. So see you later, alligators. Thanks for watching. Email us at community.com if you need anything. And for the people that are live, it's question time.